Hello and good day once again from Essen, from the headquarters of Epos. This time with a new speaker, and I'll try to explain a bit about what you can do with it, why we made it, and how you can use it best. Don't worry, I'm not going to dive into some huge technical thing here, but mainly just explain practical things. You can see the speaker here on the side. It's the Epos ES-7N. I guess if you're watching this video, you might have already bought it and are using this video as an instruction manual. We'll also show you how to unpack the concrete, but that's actually no big secret. The speaker itself looks, as I said, like this in different colors. It has a cover on the front, you see the cover. And I actually recommend removing the cover altogether. So if you really need to protect the speaker, yes, but if you want to get the maximum performance out of the speaker, there should be no cover on it. The speaker itself is very robust, made of polypropylene, so there's not much you can do. There's a separate grid on it. So it's actually well protected as it is. Just be careful not to let any mice in here, but otherwise it's actually a relatively harmless story. You'll see, if you were to see the second one now, that we have an asymmetrical layout. That means the second speaker is exactly mirrored. Why is that? That has something to do with the fact that this speaker can actually be placed in a shelf. That means there should be no bass reflex openings on the back, for example, and that's why we had to move the bass reflex opening to the front. It didn't fit in height anymore, as you can see, so it sits on the side. And to get proper spatiality, you need a mirrored model. The best setup is when you have the tweeters facing inward. So if you have them somewhere, try to position the tweeters nicely inward. Yes, positioning now is the right keyword. As a speaker developer, it's always very difficult to decide in advance where the consumer will use his speaker. Now you would say, oh, it's all very universal. No, unfortunately not. From a development point of view, we always have to think about whether the speaker is directly against the wall, for example. Is the speaker in the middle of the room, free, with a stand and plenty of space? Because that fundamentally affects the tuning. That means we try to think about how it could be, and accordingly, the speaker is tuned. Now we have a small speaker here. That means it's just under 30 centimeters high, fits into any normal IKEA shelf. And I assume that you probably won't have it standing alone in a large room 2 meters away somewhere. Because there are big floor-standing speakers, other speakers for that. Because there are big floor-standing speakers, other speakers for that. And for that reason, we decided to make two adjustments. Namely, one adjustment when the speaker, we call it semi-free, so basically with a certain distance to the wall, 30 to 50 centimeters, for example. Which is not uncommon, so if I were to place it here with a stand, it would be about like this. The other story is, many people also want to put a speaker like this in a shelf or on a sideboard. So you always basically have a wall nearby. So that we can do that, we've built a switch into the speaker. I'll turn the thing around now. We see a switch here, with which you can actually choose these two different adjustments. So at the top it also says free. That means it's on the stand with a bit of distance to the wall. The lower one is wall. That means it should stand like this when it's somewhere on a shelf or very close to the wall. What happens there? Actually, in principle, the balance between the bass speaker, so between the bass area and the mid-high range, changes. That means the mid-high range gets louder, because when the speaker is against the wall or in a shelf, the lower area is always raised. This is not witchcraft. It can be simulated very well, and we have a lot of experience in it, I believe. But we wanted to have a speaker that is actually so variable that even if you move or your living situation changes, you can still adjust it. That's basically almost everything you need to know about the speaker. From below you see a few feet. They are actually made of rubber, and they have 4 mm threads. If you put it in a shelf, you should of course try to decouple it. But that happens simply through these feet. With these feet, you also have the option of possibly screwing it onto a stand. In the future, we will probably be able to offer a model from a stand manufacturer, or you will be able to buy one where it fits exactly, so that you have the speaker attached to the stand if you have dogs, small children, or if it seems too dangerous to you. Normally, that shouldn't be an issue. Most stands that you can buy fit here on the free area. The ideal stand height is 70 centimeters. You have to see a bit. 60 centimeters is the standard for slightly larger speakers. But here you should choose 70 centimeters, but they exist. You just have to look accordingly, or your dealer should maybe have such a thing available. That was basically almost everything. Have fun with the speakers and enjoy the music.